Oh, welcome. We're seeing people join in.
Coming in, yeah.
Terrific. David, Bryant, it's good to see you. Amy, welcome. Bruni, Javad, Steve. Oh, it's great to see a lot of you. Thank you for joining us. Welcome, everyone. Oh, we're getting a great turnout for this Amplify event.
This would be like on the normal event where we say, could everybody take their seats? We're ready to get started. Now we're letting
Yeah. Oh, I hope everybody has a nice warm beverage on this fall, rainy, cold day. That you're feeling well and are ready to be inspired by some great conversation and presentation.
Well, Tina, maybe Tina Schulke, maybe I'll get it started.
Okay.
And folks will probably be joining over the next couple minutes, but we'll get going. First, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. Good morning. I'm Rob Clayman. I'm Senior VP of Economic Development here at the Oshkosh Chamber, but also serve as staff to Amplify Oshkosh. Before we get started, I just wanted to note a couple things about Amplify Oshkosh. That we are a program of the Oshkosh Chamber of Commerce. It's really a community-driven grassroots initiative designed to increase the awareness of IT careers and digital careers within business, education, public, and private sectors. The consortium is comprised of business leaders from all sectors, really, and over, it's been 6 years now, over 6 years, we've engaged over close to 1,000 individuals, distinct individuals with our programming and our events. So it's been quite a incredible start to Amplify and this whole IT initiative here in the Oshkosh area. So if you are interested in learning more as participants about Amplify Oshkosh and how maybe you could get involved with it, just to me here at the Chamber, Rob at oshkoshchamber.com. I'd be happy to help. Before I turn it over to Tina Schulke to introduce Tina Seashore, I want to take the opportunity to thank our annual sponsors of Amplify. We really couldn't do this without them. Their support and contributions really allow us to remain focused on our initiatives and our mission. Our platinum level sponsors are Oshkosh Corporation, SmartIS in the Oshkosh Area School District. We have gold level sponsors, Fox Valley Technical College, Bank First, and Stellar Blue Technologies. And then at silver level, we have Change Management. That's Tina's company. So, and we also receive support from many other businesses throughout the year for our events, our Ideas Amplified events, our big event, which typically takes place in the fall, which would be next spring at this point, and other initiatives like our Leadership Academy are supported through by the support of local business, so and organizations. So at this point, I would like to turn it over to Amplify Consortium member Tina Schulke from Change Management, and she's also the chair of our marketing and events committee and does a great job leading that group, handling all of our events. So I know Tina's going to introduce our keynote speaker, but has a few things to chat about leading up to that. So Tina, it's all yours.
Hey, thanks, Rob. And thank you all for coming today. It warms my heart to see that we're still pulling this off, sharing relevant ideas and discussing them among ourselves live. I mean, that is something that we can all be proud of accomplishing with Amplify Oshkosh. So thank you all for attending, and thank you to our sponsors. I do want to just remind everybody of some options you can use to make today's experience a best suit for you, how you want to view this content and participate in the discussion. So in Zoom, if you look up on the upper right-hand corner of your window, there's a little grid icon and it says view. To have less distraction, you can change your view, just click on it and change it to speaker view. Now you're going to get less of the Brady Bunch noise that occurs. Like, we encourage everybody to turn on your video, turn on your mic when you're ready to ask questions. That is an opportunity you will have. But you can also, if you're uncomfortable with having your video and audio on, you can turn them off. There's no shame in that. There's a lot going on in everybody's lives and rooms, and we just want you here and get what you need. You can also use the chat. So the chat icon is on the bottom of your screen. It looks like a little cartoon bubble. And if you click on that, it opens up a chat window. In that chat window, you can chat in your questions or comments. If Tina's doing a great job presenting, which I think, gosh, I know you will, Tina. And if something really resonates with you, give her some feedback. It's a little dry audience virtually sometimes. So give her some feedback, give her some questions. I'm delighted to let you know Caitlin McWilliams is still with us. She has changed employers. She used to be with the Oshkosh Chamber, and she now works for Smart IS, headquartered based in Oshkosh, global IT company, and she's still at the helm, taking care of registrations, creativity, marketing. She's on every committee, so we really appreciate Smart IS allowing Caitlin to spend her time still supporting Amplify. She was the person who got a lot of it done for us at the chamber. So thank you for continuing with that. And congratulations on your new job. What a great
Thank
career
you.
move. Yeah. Okay. So couple last things. One, I need to tell you about our upcoming Amplify event on November 13th. It'll be at the same time of day. Right, Rob? Yeah, 10 a.m. to noon. So it's a little bit longer, but here's the deal. It's like a micro webinar, micro conference type of experience. So we have an excellent keynote. The title of the event is Watch It. So keeping an eye on your digital devices, digital work, keep an eye on your digital tech. And what that means is our keynote is going to be Special Agent Byron Franz, who heads up the cybersecurity department for the FBI in our region, in the state of Wisconsin, and I think a little beyond. So he's going to talk about what cyber threats we're experiencing and what you can do about it. We're then going to have a short break and a follow up with panelists, local experts in cybersecurity, so you can learn and ask questions and understand what we're all experiencing, keeping ourselves, our data, and our companies, families safe online. What do we need to watch out for? And what do we need to do as good digital citizens? So, November 13th, 10 a.m. to noon. Please join us. Register for that. It's available on our website, amplifyoshkosh.com. Registration is open. So, without further ado, it is my honor and privilege to introduce you to Tina Seashore, another Tina S. We were talking about that before you all joined. And Tina Seashore is the Vice President of Global Rewards at Oshkosh Corporation. Tina carries the PHR, GRP, and CCP designations. So that's Professional and Human Resources, Global Remuneration Professional, and Certified Compensation Professional. And I know Tina from a former workplace, and she rolled out this great global rewards package at Bemis back then too. And we all as employees had access to information and really understood what our total compensation was. And it was a great way for us to be in touch with all the ways our employment enriched our lives. So thank you for that. I know you do great with that. But she's got over 20 years of HR experience in large and complex Fortune 500 organizations. and she's accountable for the strategic design and oversight of global compensation and benefits at Oshkosh Corp. And she's got a strategic design for how that global mobility functions. She develops and champions technology along with how HR is organized. And what's really cool about how Tina approaches all of this is she puts people at the forefront. It's people over technology, people over anything. Like the priority is how do we care for people and what makes sense. We're not going to just use the buttons and mash them as the technology presents itself to drive change. We're going to make that change, and technology is going to assist us. So Tina, I can't wait to see your presentation.
Okay. Well, thank you, Tina, the other Tina S. Hopefully you can all hear me okay and see me. So greetings from Oshkosh, Wisconsin. I am ready to mask up for the moment I leave the building. I am working out of our global headquarters right on the river here in beautiful Oshkosh, Wisconsin, where we are all supporting our mask mandate, but I'm in a room by myself, so I get to actually take off the mask and present to all of you. So I'm going to share my screen here, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, I can see it, so I'm hoping everybody else can. True? Yes? All right. So if I can figure out how to advance the slides, there we go. So here's the objectives of our discussion today, and I'll take as much opportunity as I can to pause for Q&A, or if people want to make some comments, I'll certainly try to adjust the topic here. It's always hard to do this virtually. I'm very conversationalist, and I just want to say I see a couple familiar names on the list today. So shout out to all my HR friends out there, and for those of you I don't know, great to meet you virtually. This is what I'm going to cover, all these objectives on the left here. And it may look overwhelming, but I promise that I will succinctly explain the Oshkosh success story. But prior to getting into that, I've got to shout out to my organization and share with you who we are. Hopefully, those of you who are all in the Fox Valley know that we are not Oshkosh B'gosh. I joke to myself that I have worked for two organizations that seem to have brand identity issues. It was either the toilet seats or the baby clothes. And so we are not the baby clothes organization. We are Oshkosh Corporation. We've got a global footprint in over 23 countries. You can see some of those statistics off to the left. We serve in HR and as employees the everyday hero. And it's a very awesome organization to work for. And I'll explain a little bit more about us in the next coming slides. So here's our portfolio of leading brands. We actually have 9 with a history of just advancing every industry in which we operate. And we're either number 1 or number 2 in the industries in which we serve. So how cool is that? You probably recognize some of these pretty neat machines. We make some of the coolest vehicles around the world, and I'm very proud to work for this organization. So we really deliver awesome platforms and leveraging our scale across all these brands, making us one Oshkosh. One of our core values is we are better together, and we truly believe that. So our purpose is really united, and that's to make a difference in people's lives. These are actually pictures of our team members. We serve the war fighter, the firefighter, that technician that's working 185 feet in the air. We clean up communities with our refuse vehicles and certainly build communities with our cement mixer. So I think some of our vehicle tires may be about my height. So we build really cool, big, bad machinery and equipment. So hopefully you're getting a sense of who Oshkosh is. And this slide's really important to me because this speaks to our people first culture and our journey. Our people strategy is at the forefront of every decision that we make. And again, having the privilege to work for an organization that serves the everyday hero. So pretty fun place to work, I have to tell you that. So let's get into the fun part of what I'm here to talk about. And starting our journey, I can tell you, I've been with Oshkosh now 5 years in June. And I knew there was this compelling opportunity before I started around just digital transformation and technology. And I could see it as an area of opportunity. But when I started, I had no idea like how bad it was. So if those of you who work for organizations where you're going, oh my gosh, my HR organization isn't supporting the business. We're very difficult to do business with. Our team members are confused. Rest assured, I was there. I came and said, holy heck, what did I walk into? How am I going to make a difference here? How am I going to lean into this organization and tell them that what we have is not good enough for our people? Well, I did, and we are since on the other side of I would say our implementation, but we are forever on a journey of putting the team member at the center. So when I talk about the success story, I really feel confident that I can distill it down into these 3 major areas. And certainly, yes, it's much more complicated than this, but really it started with that aligned vision and global process design. We have an organization, again, that spans 23 countries, and we were not going to deploy a tool 29 different ways. We wanted our team members and our leaders to experience the same thing so they didn't have to relearn how to be a team member or relearn how to be a leader if they changed positions or changed divisions or moved, etc. So that was really important. We were always technology agnostic. And I'm going to say that multiple times throughout our discussion today, and I'll explain more. The second one was about taking and having the courage to transform HR and taking your service delivery to the next level, reimagining what HR could look like. The way that we deploy and deliver services to our team members is not anything like the organization in which I started. We have completely flipped it upside down, all for the right reasons, which means we had to get pretty intimate with how bad we were delivering services and be transparent about that, and then move forward. And the last one is change management, early, often, and ongoing. I remember being in rooms where I was 1 against 100 or 1 against 5 with this idea and concept that just I couldn't get anywhere. So, I had to go on a change management campaign solo. And then it was so cool to see that followership and people starting to speak your language and get the vision of what could be, and then be ambassadors. And that all starts with just simple change management, and cannot underestimate the value importance of that. So I'd like to talk a little bit about how, so I don't stay up too high, and hopefully give you nuggets of information that you can take away and back to your business or wherever you are in your journey. And we had this awareness campaign. On the right is actually the collateral we used. And this was our problem statement, our opportunity statement. You can tell in this document here, and the intention is not for you to be able to read every word. There is nothing about the solution. There is nothing about the technology partner or the implementation process. This is all about what's in it for the organization. What's in it for our people, leaders? What's in it for our employees? It's bubbling up the dirty laundry through voice of customer. What's wrong? What's not going well? And just being transparent and constantly talking about it. I use this document, which I could not anymore, but at a time I could basically regurgitate off the top of my head and do it in 10 minutes or 2 minutes. I took the opportunity to create awareness. HR, IT, and finance were the key stakeholders that I needed to have their arms wrap around and embrace before we could go any further. And I did this in elevators, on plane rides. I asked to go to team meetings. I would talk about it whenever I could, almost to the point where people got to say, I get it. Stop. Go away. Stop. And then I would hear people in conversation say, this is our opportunity. Do you know what it's like to be a team member when they start here? Do you know what it's like for people leaders to be able to do this? And for me, I would just sit back and go, uh-huh. But it took just a little bit of time to put the idea and what it identified the business problem. And I think so many people try to go in and slam in technology. They have zero clue what they're trying to solve for. So this was our awareness campaign. And then we were able to articulate again what was in it for team members, leaders, and functions. What are the barriers? What are the obstacles? What could it feel like for somebody working for our awesome organization? How do we take away words like tough to do business with, or why do I have to sign 26 documents, or why are you giving me paper? Or why do I have to go to 8 systems or call my HR person to get a simple thing? I mean, we basically laid it out there and then flipped it to say, what's that opportunity from a positive? So setting the strategic vision. If I could spend an entire day just on this slide, I would, and we don't have the time, so I won't. This is where the magic sits. This is about being the visionary, HR business-minded person. This is about what technology can look like and how it gets measured. So we had a session where I brought in IT and finance and HR. I brought in business leaders, folks that represented our regions. I had a safety professional in there and just said, if we were going to invest in technology, people technology, not HR, if you use the word HR technology, you're in the wrong business right now. This technology is not built for me. I have some of the most complex functions and we're beneficiaries of the data and the tools. But this is about the 15,000 team members. This is not about designing the best benefit system or comp system or succession planning system. I mean, mind you, we have all that too, but this is about the way people interact. And so we brought everybody in a room and said, if we could, what would that look like? And this vision map came to life and we got alignment on it. This vision map allowed us to make decisions about the right technology partner. It helped us when we were defining our processes. It helped us when we selected who the right implementation partner is. It helps us when we deployed new technology. We go back to this all the time. If we hadn't had this document, we would have been romanced by what I think are sometimes the sexy salesperson who, by the way, knows how to sell. So if you're getting romanced by them, that's bad. It's bad news bears, because by the way, all that awesome stuff that they shared with you, you have to build that and have the wherewithal and the vision to understand how that works in your organization. So this vision map level set everything and every decision that we made. And unfortunately, what I see organizations do is they bring in the best technology players. They let them tell you, meaning the business, what's right for you. And this is flipping it, you taking control of your organization and saying, this is what we want. Now we're going to find who fits what this is and who's the best fit. So again, I could talk about that all day, but that is the secret sauce right there. So how we executed and approached the program, I share this slide because I think it's important to know that this is a journey. This is grueling. It requires perseverance and tenacity. And it requires you to have a strategy. And if you're trying to just go solve one problem over here because team members can't update their address, you're looking at the opportunity so completely backwards and wrong. So this is, again, a long time, and this is what it took for Oshkosh to deploy. And we started with our strategy, how we planned, how we executed the project. I'd like to also call out the fact that this just wasn't a technology play for us. And I often say technology gave us the courage to transform. It is our engine, but all the work, I'm going to tell you, the technology implementation is the easiest. All the work is everything around it. How we built our HR organization, how we built case management in a portal and knowledge to support the transformation we were trying to do. So these were our very high level program phases. I know sometimes I can make it sound easy, so I'm really not trying to do that. I mean, there is hours and hours and years of work behind this, but it shows you the time and commitment. And in the go live, that's where it starts. All that work before starting is once you turn on your tool in your new processes in your new organization. So
Hey,
here,
Tina, I have a quick question.
yeah,
So when you talk about like the hours and the years, what did the team look like? Like, did you have a project team that was assigned specifically to this, or did this become kind of a part-time add-on gig for many professionals? How did that work in your organization?
yeah. I think I have a slide about that later, but I'll quick answer that is we, of course, use an implementation partner. You have to from the technology perspective, but we sourced this all internally. And part of our project management approval to get an AR request for funding is we have to have a resource plan attached to this. And part of the approval for funding was getting approval and alignment from all the businesses of the people that would be dedicated to this program. And we
Okay.
most of the resources 100%. So that required them to be pulled out of job, figure out
Mhm.
how we would care for that work in the meantime so that they could be protected. This was not an add-on. That does not work. You cannot do a transformational project of this size for someone to say, do this, and now go and do this. These were dedicated resources in our organization sourced internally to work on this, which as you know is difficult, but that required alignment.
That's great. There's one more question. Jonathan is probably feeling a little bit overwhelmed. He's like, oh my goodness, that project took 4 years. Is that a reflection of the company's size and global locations? It seems so daunting to firms that have a couple hundred employees. You've got so much experience, Tina. Like, what
Yeah.
can you share with him about
So
that?
admittedly, the implementation itself, we did a big bang approach in 12 months. So that was 12
Oh,
months to turn on technology, stand up HR services organization, turn on our ServiceNow platform, which is where we house our portal case and knowledge. That the work was 12 months. Uh, the prior was the case for change, the change management, me getting out and identifying why this was an opportunity. So people would go, well, yeah, I need this to show up on my strategic deployment exercise. We have 4 business units.
you
So
had to get it on their budgets too,
yeah, and
right? Like,
to
yeah.
ask for a lot of money takes time and we don't always have budget. So I had to think about that. The first ask was a no. The second ask, we got funding. So we asked no funding, but we believe it's a viable project. So we continue to work on documenting current state, continuing to evolve our vision, learn more from other organizations. So we actually had a year in which we were told no funding before the funding was there.
Okay.
I
Thank you.
I don't want to say it takes that long, but if you think about that case for change, so everybody agrees, yes, I want to do this, and you have the funding, you have to be thoughtful about that and build
Yeah.
that into your timeline. Because just when you get funding, which means allows you to purchase the software, but now you have to go deploy it, which for us took 12 months. I would say people are shocked by the fact we did that for our size globally.
Yes.
You can see all the modules we turned on in Workday globally. You can see what we did in HR, and you can see what we did on the support tools to help assist with the new behavior expectation. We did all of this in 12 months, what you're seeing here.
That's fantastic. Yeah. So my experience with smaller organizations in assisting them with the change management and implementation from our company, we partner with some small and medium sized organizations. So that 200, we've seen this accomplished. They usually bring us in after they get that funding, yes, that initial buy-in. So maybe we show up year 2, and over the course of about a year, sometimes 9 months, sometimes 18 months, depending on the complexity of the build out, what they choose to do with their platform. Um, that seems to be the timeline for smaller organizations
Mhm.
in my experience.
Right.
Can be
That's fair.
escalated. Yeah.
Well, and some of that is how do you get with your stakeholders? Some companies may have 3 decision makers. Yeah, I had
Right.
4 segment presidents, 9 corporate officers, plus the long range planning finance group. I had to get approval from, but and all before that is I had to get all those leadership teams aligned. So it's you know,
And it was all during the course of a culture evolution, transformation in your organization. And it was also during, a really up and down economic experience. The external pressures on your organization were still present through these 4 years.
they always are. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. So way to go.
Yeah, thank you. So you got to see what we actually deployed. I want to switch gears into global process alignment and design. And here you see that vision map, and again, why it was so instrumental to our organization. And this is probably my second biggest takeaway, other than having the vision map, is never, my advice is please never, ever, ever invest in technology if you are not willing to overhaul your processes and how your team members experience them. Because all you will get is the junk you have now. I'm very transparent, so I apologize for my bluntness. Literally the stuff you have now, which you hate, and you're going to put it in a very sophisticated modern tool, and it is not going to get you anywhere. It will just cost you more money. So why this slide is so important to me is we had global process design where we brought in HR, business partners, our international experts, and we went through and said, tell me about the hire process. Tell me about the promotion process. And we aligned on global processes for over 100 different ways of doing business. And they were disparate. And so, how did we do that? Well, we did that because we ended up selecting the best technology that would set us up for this success because we knew we needed to harmonize. Our processes don't have to be different. The only way they were going to be different is if there was a legal requirement in the country, if it provided a monetary risk to Oshkosh, data privacy, or a CBA. You can see that in the bottom right. And we simplified things like 2 business process approvals, leader and leaders leader and HR. That's it. Some things don't need approval. How are we going to drive that vision map in our processes? So how you deploy quick is when you agree on your business processes, which you have to configure and build in your tool. If you do not have the courage to alter your business processes, do not invest in technology. So that was part of my role that said, when we go into this, folks, I'm going to put you in an uncomfortable position. And we have a saying here at Oshkosh is get comfortable being uncomfortable. Because this is about transformation. This is about what is in it for our people. And HR, you're in the way. I mean, I sat down and looked people eye to eye and said, you are getting in the way of this. And what I mean by that is you're thinking in HR speak, you're thinking as a benefits professional, as a labor professional. Put the team member in the center of your decision making. It will become more clear. And I promise you, as your role in HR, you will benefit greatly for this. But HR technology was designed for HR people. Today, this is about technology that's designed for people. You're a beneficiary of it. So get out of your own way. And to see that transform where people light bulbs went on, I mean, it's like music to my heart. So let's talk a little bit about the HR transformation. This is probably the third nugget that I ask you to take away besides the vision map and having the courage to change your processes, is you better be looking at your HR organization. And we were so keen on getting this right that we actually partnered with our implementation provider, which was Mercer. And we selected Mercer from a technology implementation for many reasons, but we also selected them because of their HR practice. And we knew we were going to get access to other professionals should we need it. We did a work inventory where we had, I think, 99% of our payroll, which by the way is a function of finance at Oshkosh. So it wasn't something I could dictate or control. I had to bring them along. So payroll and HR professionals all around the world, we asked them a series of questions, and we had to go through change management. Why are we doing this? Why is this cool to do? And these are some of the themes we found, is that 3% of our time was spent on talent. Hello, HR. What have we been doing? We're directors and above are spending 21% of their time on the value of leadership, like punching below their belt. And a lot of that was because of the complexity of our tools and the way that we were structured. And we had 32% of our team members who were performing more than 50 activities. What I was like, say what? How is that healthy? How are people engaged? This is not good. So you can see where our COEs and HR business partners are sitting, very transactional. So we knew we had to change. So this was the org design we actually implemented, where we were strategically focused on talent, culture, and the health of our organization. We created a brand new HR services organization that handled things, the common things that were consistent around the globe, that a team member didn't have to wait, who was on third shift, 4 weeks later to see their HR person or, track down somebody. So we built that organization. There's a lot to that. We elevated the COEs. They shrunk. The COEs shrunk because we were soup to nuts. We can't do administration and tactical work and be looking up and out and be visionaries. So we shuffled around the way that work got organized, and we had a focused effort on elevating the business partner, taking away that transactional work. But I can tell you that's hard, because as HR professionals, we often value or measure ourselves based on how we service our customer. And that sometimes is doing what they ask. That mind shift had to change. So we have a whole curriculum on how we help and support. And then change management. This was constant, continual. Every stand-up meeting, every town hall, every leadership team meeting, anytime we could, we just went after people and said, you're going to see something called Workday come. And here is why. This is about modernizing your experiences. We care about you. This is what you get from it as a people leader, as a team member. And this new organization that is here to support you in the moments that matter the most. So we had to do a lot of rebranding about what we were going to look like. Everyone was like, what are we doing? And this was just often infrequent and constant. And we still are doing this today. These were our stakeholder groups. I just share this with you because we leveraged a thing called Change Champions. We had, this is the collateral out to the right for preparing HR, production team members and managers. So much thought was gone into setting them up for success. And then still today, we are a continuous improvement organization, and we're still driving adoption. So we do just-in-time training. We're constantly realigning roles. We do these things called swim lane discussions, where HR services organization goes out in the business and says, where are your pain points? What are you still doing that you shouldn't be doing? What should we be doing? How do we take more services from you so we can elevate? What's working good? What isn't working good? We do that with the COEs. We do that with our HR technology team. How many questions are being escalated to you, HR tech, that shouldn't be? Where should it be in our organization? We're always realigning and transforming the way that we deliver services, taking more in, elevating the COEs and business partners. We're measuring transactions that HR is creating on behalf of a team member. That's a part of the evolution of HR. Are you here to focus on talent, culture, and org health, or are you here to help someone change their address? Think about your work and how are we preparing you? So we measure that, and it's not to call it out, but it's to show our evolution of transformation and change. We have a case reporting tool and dashboard so our COEs can see the issues, concerns, what looks good, what doesn't look good. And we continue to leverage technology by using an agile Scrum framework, agile project management. Sometimes I feel like we're in IT a little bit, digital technology. We leverage this to get the voice of customer to prioritize enhancements, new feature functionality, and just getting them to understand the scope of services and how we make decisions. So we're at this constantly. We just actually turned on Workday Recruit globally in the middle of the pandemic. And I want to share that and pause because I'm going to tell you, getting through COVID-19, and we're still in the heat of it, we're an essential business. Our team members have never left, our production team members. We have a hybrid approach in the office. One of our core values, I said, is we're better together. I truly believe we have been able to measure success of this transformation because COVID highlighted the nuances that exist. And the way that we were agile and provided resources and deployed programs, because our structure is this way and because we have the technology, I can tell you we turned on a brand new community online kind of portal experience, so our ServiceNow application in 10 days for people to share things like, how are you managing work from home? What are you doing with your kids? What are videos you're watching? Quick tips, helpful way to share, almost like a Facebook. We did all of that. And COVID, I know, has shined a light on a lot of organizations, and maybe there are structures that aren't well, but it allowed us in the unfortunate time of the pandemic to really shine. So this is my last slide. And again, our success story really comes down to these three major pillars. And that's that vision map and that global alignment. Change your processes, make them the best for your team members. Thinking about your team members when you deliver services, putting them at the center, asking them, how does this impact the person who doesn't speak English as their first language? How does this impact the team member working on third shift? What does this look like in Asia? Remember, we're all team members first, and put them at the center. And I forgot to mention that that's so important to us that we deploy our technology, our HR services, our knowledge article, our Workday platform, the way they engage in ServiceNow and Portal in 5 languages, because that was important to our team members. So taking that to the next level, change management, early, often, and ongoing, and always with that continuous improvement mindset. Once you deploy, it doesn't stop. It's about getting better every day, learning from things, and continuing on that pursuit of excellence for the people that matter the most. And that's our number one asset, our people.
Mary McNevin has expressed how much she loves and appreciates the focus on how this transformation was really done to impact in a positive way the team member and putting them at the center of the decision making. She's really impressed. So
thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. At this time, I invite everybody, if it's okay with you, Tina, to change their view on Zoom to go ahead and show yourself the kind of Brady Bunch look, right? The grid look. And we are opening up, Mark, if you'll assist with that, open up the ability for people to turn on and off their mics. So you as an audience can interact with Tina and ask some good questions and provide her some feedback. Caitlin, Rob, and I will also look at the chat. So um, let's talk about it.
Yes, and I welcome any questions from my friends who know me well out there. I won't call on them, but I welcome all questions.
Hey, Tina, you're on mute, Tina Schalke.
That's hilarious. I was telling you to unmute if you wanted to ask a question and to switch your view to gallery view, and that'll help us engage. So on the top right corner, click on view, choose gallery view. If you want to ask a question in person, go ahead and click on the mic. I have a question. It's a nosy question. So Tina, you had to sustain as a leader, right? For yourself and for everybody involved, a positive outlook on the changes. And you even expressed sometimes it felt like you were one against, right? You use the word one against 100, one against a room full. And you got to hear, everything good, bad, and ugly, and probably more of the bad and ugly than you could have imagined. What did you do for yourself to keep your mindset what it needed to be to really drive that transformation when everything was coming back at you?
Oh, good question. So I can tell you, first and foremost, I believe in practicing really good self-care. It's something that I talk about from a well-being perspective, making sure that I am in a just a good frame of mind as I give my best self when I enter the door, the four walls here at Oshkosh. So I mean, I do that just in general. But I mean, this is grueling, as I said, and I think if you truly embrace the privilege of leadership, which I feel very privileged that I have the accountability to care for 40 some people just in my team and have the ability to influence something that is going to make a difference in our team members' lives, that is going to have them appreciate and engage more in their organization, that is going to make their experience better and where they create followership of the Oshkosh brand so that their friends and family come and work. I think, if you focus on that and what could be, knowing that you can see what the change will do, I never lost sight of that. And did I get beat up or told I was nuts? Sure. Did I have people tell me, oh, you just want a new HR system?
A new toy, right? This is going to be fun.
And I think the point of that is if you're a genuine caring leader, you listen with empathy, you seek to understand, but you also take the opportunity to right size the message. Asking people to, if you don't understand what I'm saying or you disagree, allow me the opportunity to talk with you again before you decide to share your voice of dislike to others. Because that and so there are things that I do, maybe tactics I use in environments like that. But when I speak on behalf of the way our people are feeling, and I can use words that they describe, when you say that to other leaders, they don't like it. So I view myself as the ambassador of their voice. So it was less about like me getting beat up. I knew that I had to step into that shoes and lean in. And I think that's about leadership and the awesome responsibility of it. And there are times like I got discouraged, but I have people in my network where I said, I tried this, it failed. What do you think? Like, and then I would get back up and, sometimes go, well, that stunk.
Right.
How'd I get myself there? And, but I think it's that relentless pursuit of something better, leaving something better than the way in which you received it, and knowing what could be.
Mm-hmm.
As a business leader and HR professional, I mean, I approach my work like that every day.
Yeah, that's awesome. So it's so much bigger than you. I love that. David Bryant has a question. It's another great one. So if you had to do it all over again, start from the beginning, what would you do different? What did you learn from those, well, that really stunk moment that came along?
Oh gosh. Oh, you know, it's hard to pick apart the program because that's the one thing about Oshkosh team members is when we set out to do something, well, they pour their heart and soul into it. The one thing I can tell you from a preparedness that I wish, because it trips us up now, and it's not about the transformation, but it's more on the readiness side. If I could have simplified our timekeeping processes first, meaning our clock systems and we're heavy manufacturing. So that would have taken out the level of complexity that we have with the integrations and in the from the gross to net that Workday does. So I would have spent some time in that area, but that isn't something we could do. And then also thinking about that aspect of payroll and global aggregation of data so that Workday could be the one source of truth for our international team members.
Yeah.
That now as a like phase 3, because we don't run non-US payroll through Workday, that's all done with third parties. I would have paid more attention and cared for that in the change management better.
Okay.
But this was a big focus for us as it related to that. So there, from a team member nuance perspective, I wish the timekeeping stuff was a little bit more organized.
Mhm.
Still are making it work. That's my one call out. Honestly, I don't know that I would do it differently. I think the year in which we got the no, and I can tell you before I started, this project was launched 5 times.
Oh,
Was 7th time is the charm. I forgot to say that. Off. And maybe that's what I would say. Had we gotten funding, I don't know that we would have been as successful because that 1 year off, we got to do more of the change management campaigns and also got to be really clear about our current state and collecting business processes that we didn't know about. So we got to isolate those so that we could hit the ground running. So if we would have got funding first, that wouldn't have worked as well. So I would say I would be doing that now, even if
yeah.
you're for money.
Okay. Very cool. So Amanda Van den Elzen has a really good, some really good feedback and question here. She said her organization has a pretty stark contrast between their team members at the corporate office and then the team members that are working out of their warehouses. So while the technology demand and expectation is really high for corporate employees, for people working in the warehouse, they're really not at a computer very frequently and aren't as tech savvy. She says
Yeah.
technology adept. So how do you bridge that gap when you're implementing an HR solution that touches every associate, right? Every person, no matter what their tech experience is.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you, Tina, you just called it an HR solution. I'm going to call it a people solution.
Uh-huh.
Sorry. I
It's
know.
okay.
A stinker.
And I'm reading too. So
yes,
yeah, but it
no,
is.
no,
Yes.
that's okay.
Yeah.
It's, I think as people on the phone, it's
How we
reframing
relate to it.
too,
Yeah.
as, because I think what's been deployed in HR in the past or out of the HR function has been HR technology. It's not team member friendly.
Right.
So when you think or associate friendly or employee friendly. So one of the things that I forgot to mention and on our deployment was single sign-on in mobile.
Ah.
We were not deploying any solution that did not allow single sign-on, which is how you authenticate yourself every day, because passwords are crazy. and people forget them. So then, I mean, that's already a roadblock to the tool. You're not going to get engagement. We want to get engagement to addiction. That's what we want in our technology platforms, that people are leveraging it. So mobile first was a strategy for us that had to be deployed. And when new hires start, they put their Workday and ServiceNow app on their phone, and they put their Limeade app, which is our well-being platform, right away.
Oh, that's great.
The expectation is there. We certainly had to transform with team members, but if you're concerned about adoption or the ability to use, then you should have that as part of your vision map, what that team member experience looks like. That means processes. One of ours was simple. It has to be simple. I don't want to deploy online documentation and training for everything. The tool we selected is so simple. The business process we selected is so simple. So if you're designing it for you, it's not going to be simple, because our back-end data analytics I use for comp and benefits are very techie geeky, but the interface that team members need when they have a life status event, or when they enroll in benefits, or when they want to update their emergency contact, or they want to fill out their performance review, it's simple. So that's got to be a principle on your vision.
You want what? Pizza fries.
Find the technology that is going to set you up for that
Doesn't
success.
that sound amazing?
And then you ultimately have to make sure your business processes are simple.
Thank you. And Jonathan Bartz mentions early in the presentation, you said something along the lines of don't say HR, which we just talked about again, say people. Do you see a day when the term human resources or HR will be replaced with people in your company's written materials?
So I would say we use that word. We use a lot. Team member is the way that we talk about our employees. So team member we use in everything. I see HR and people using it to mean the same thing. Yeah, out in the environment or in the workplace, we're starting to see titles move away from HR. You're seeing, top people and culture officers. I saw once a chief happiness officer. It's like, that's kind of fun. I think that's an evolution of the function being a true business department and not a department that supports the business. I just think that's an evolution. So do I see it anytime soon? No, but do I see those words starting to be interchanged? Absolutely.
Cool. Very cool. Thank you. And Amy is asking, did you put out an RFP with your requirements? And how did you find what was that selection process? How did you find your vendor? How many did you look at? What was that like for you?
Yeah, so that vision map helped us decide, what good looks like from the top level.
Mm-hmm.
From the size of Oshkosh, there's only 3 players that really can support us from an RFP perspective. So we did partner with our procurement team to help us deploy. We had requirements within. If you know anything about technology delivered today, it's called software as a service. It's configurable and not customizable. So the way that I would say traditional business analyst, developer, IT functions work, which is go to the business, get your requirements, come back and write code to deliver it. The way the people technology platforms are being deployed, because they're all built around team member experience. So I believe that vision map is what's most important. And we knew who the players were going to be, and that was Workday, SAP SuccessFactors, and Oracle. And those are the 3 we honed in on. There are other great alternatives out there for smaller organization, like UltaPro is fantastic. They just can't support us. But we also knew from a requirement perspective what type of processes we would want in. So we knew US payroll, talent, advanced comp, basic human capital management. So I would say from a requirements, you should know how wide your scope is so that you can hone in on the right technology, because they won't all have that. And they're not all going to be the best. And the other comment I would say is make sure you know, are you going to be okay with a single solution, or are you going to deploy best in class?
Yeah.
I think that's awful from a UI, a user experience interface. So our approach was one single solution, and we were going to build our strategy around that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for those insights.
But
Thank you, Tina, for sharing this inspiration and success story, really how digital transformation can serve people in an organization and transform, like how HR transformed from being super transactional to more visionary and strategic and supporting the talent in the organization. Congratulations. And
well,
we're
thank
really
you.
grateful. Yeah, we're really
You
grateful
bet.
that you shared with us today. Um, with that, I just want to let everyone know, sign up for our November 13th event, the Watch IT. Keep an eye on your tech, digital tech. And thank you all for joining in. It's been a pleasure. I've got my mind worrying again about, human capital management, which I hate that terminology too, right? But that's the name of the software. So you
Yeah,
gotta,
we call it our people strategy.
it's great. It's great.
So,
Yeah.
well,
Feeling
thank you
good
so
about
much
it.
for your
Yep.
time, and great to see some friendly names out there, and good luck to all of you. And I always say, reach out LinkedIn with me, send me an email. Happy to talk about it further. I'm always willing to chat with you or your leadership teams. Sometimes it helps hearing a story from someone other than you. I don't know why. I mean, I've leveraged that in my past, and
It
happy
does.
just partners that we've leveraged and people in my network who I think are really good external thought leaders in this space, if that's helpful.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's generous.
Thanks, Tina.
You bet. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of your week. Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.